back here on Locked on Baylor on a Wicker Wednesday, joined by Sydney Wicker of KCEN Channel 6. I'm Cam Stuart of ESPN Central Texas and the Cam Show on YouTube. So, guys, want your thoughts here. What do you think about this Baylor offense? How do you feel about this matchup against the Auburn defense? Let me know in the comments section below. And, of course, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are getting very close to 4,000 subscribers. I did not think it was going to be possible before opening kickoff, but we're about 60 subscribers away as this is being dropped. So let's get there. Only about half of you watching are actually subscribed. Let's get there. How about it? But let's talk the other side of things, Sydney. We talked about Baylor's offense, Auburn's defense. That's going to be the matchup. That's going to be really fascinating. I mean, you're talking about a legit top 20 offense against a legit top 20 defense that have both improved from last year. The other side, though, is where it's going to be morbidly fascinating, okay? Baylor really needs to get a better defense than they had a year ago if they're going to compete in this conference. And Auburn needs to get a much better offense just to not just compete, but like to make a bowl game, to have their first winning season in 6 years. They need to do better than what they've done the last few years in the Peyton Thorne experiment. And one of the things we've talked about all offseason long, Sydney, is this defensive backfield for Baylor. They've got a new coach in there in Paul Gonzalez. They've added some new pieces, but I don't think we can stress enough just how important that unit is for this team.
So important, especially like you just talked about. There's so many question marks around what this Auburn offense will look like and where do they go? How do they do it? I had just joked about how they were saying, we're willing to throw 3 quarterbacks in a game if that's what we have to do, there's so many different questions about what we'll see on both sides. But when it comes to Baylor and their safeties, those cornerbacks, they have to come ready to attack. Jackson Arnold is a guy who loves to hold on to the football. There needs to be pressure on the quarterback. You have to be ready to attack because it seems like he's a guy who's attackable from what we've seen. So in order to slow their offense down for whatever they could bring, how do you attack that early and quick? And I think that's something to focus on, but we know the secondary group is one that needs a lot of work. And that's been a big emphasis, not only in fall camp, but also in spring ball.
Yeah, and through the transfer portal, right? I mean, you bring in a Calvin Simpson Hunt from Ohio State at corner. You need internal growth from someone like Caden Jenkins, who we've talked a lot about. Carl Williams had a good year. He's probably ready to take that next step. Tevin Williams, another guy, probably needs to take more of a step for this to be a better defense. I mean, this goes all the way around. Dave Aranda agrees. And he's talking about the safeties in particular. And boy, a bit of a double-edged sword in this next one and maybe a bit of a red flag at the end of it.
There's positive things. There's things I wish we could do better. I think it's there's growing pains there. I think, Devin Bobby is one of the most improved guys. Simpkins is one of the most improved guys. They are playing their best football that they played. I think we've got some new guys, young guys we're trying to find roles for. Bo Onu is playing well. Tyler Turner is a consistent guy. I think we're trying to be able to get consistent coverage play. I think playing the run game and blitzing is probably a little bit ahead of just covering. And so still some work to do there.
So some good and some bad there. Okay. First off, love hearing good about Kendrick Simpkins. I loved Kendrick Simpkins going into last year. And he didn't love staying on the football field all that much. He made 4 tackles all year. I compared him to Rodney Harrison. So that's good. And hearing that the pass rush is better, we've heard that a couple of times throughout camp. That's great. And you can cover up some of your ills on the back end by having a good pass rush. You need to have an elite pass rush to kind of take it out of the equation. And that last part there of Dave saying, a week and a half before game number 1, our coverage is not where it needs to be. Sydney, that's a really worrying sign to me going against this Auburn team.
Yeah, don't love it, but I think you're not going to see results overnight. I don't think, I'm excited to hear about their growth and where they have taken strides, but I just think when you think about how rough shape that group as a whole was last year, is there even enough time in the off season to totally turn it around? Like, it's going to be something that's going to progressively have to get better week in and week out throughout the season. So I think it's just a reality check, in all honesty, of like, this is where we're at. Hopefully it is better, and hopefully we see that it is better on the field. But I do think it was kind of a gut punch of like, hey, we're still not there yet. It sucks, but we are seeing at least a couple leaders. So.
Yeah, and to your point earlier about, the guys, the focus on it in spring ball, like from that position, like you had to rotate probably some other depth guys in at safety because of the Devin Turner injury, which comes after spring ball. But most of the defensive backs were already there. Like you had these guys. Calvin Simpson-Hunt was right at the end of that other window because he had won the national championship at Ohio State. But for the most part, you got all those guys in there. You look at Auburn, Cam Coleman, NFL receiver. Malcolm Simmons, NFL receiver. Yeah. Eric Singleton, maybe the best receiver in the portal this past year. He's going to be an NFL guy. So, yeah, there's all kinds of question marks around Jackson Arnold, and I'm not going to back off that. But Baylor really might be throwing them a bone if they're not ready to cover. For all you could say about Hugh Freeze, and he finds ways to lose games, he is a good play caller. I know they've got 5 or 6 play callers over there, just whatever town it is, somebody new's calling a play, and potentially some other quarterback in there. But the strength of Auburn's offense is certainly those receivers. And this is going to keep me up at night a little bit, hearing that this team's not ready to cover.
Definitely tossing and turning a little bit, not loving that. I know you'd mentioned Cam Coleman, that guy's so good. He's so fun to watch. Like, it's
Duke
almost like, you have to be real. I do think, whatever you are able to apply pressure-wise to Jackson can help alleviate how many times he connects with those guys. But then again, last week when we talked, I was like, I'm always afraid of Auburn's running back room. They are so talented when it comes to running the ball. So you got to be ready really on all phases of what their offense could potentially bring, no matter who's going to be back there in quarterback.
Yeah, truly. And like, that is what probably worries me the most. I know some people are playing up the trenches, and I'm a football guy. Like, games are won and lost in the trenches. I just don't think Baylor's trenches are as bad as the big bad SEC thinks. But this is where it worries me. Those receivers against these corners. Obviously, we kind of had a wing and a prayer. We had some hope going into it. And, looking at Baylor last year and their offensive line, for example, that got much better halfway through the season. So maybe that's what happens with this defensive backfield. Just ain't going to help much week 1. But what's worrying you guys, or what is helping you guys sleep at night when it comes to this week 1 matchup? Let us know in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, find us wherever you find your podcasts as well.